Hey there, everybody. How's it going? It's a new week. We've got a content update. We've got a new rescue signal event. We've got some new banner unit to look at. Pocket Adventure is back. However, it looks like it might be the last time we see it for a while. And what I mean by that is we'll take a look at the news. That they had on this. And so it says Volume 8, which begins after maintenance today, will be the last time this event is held regularly. Afterwards, the event will be held irregularly and is planned to eventually transition to a permanent game mode, which honestly I'm okay with. I think that's good. Just keep it, as something permanent that we can do if there's nothing else to do or we just want to have a little fun. News on any changes will be announced when available, and adjustments to make the event less taxing on players, such as the removal of rankings. That would be also be really nice. And so, yeah, what this means is we might not see Pocket Adventure for a while, but I think when it comes back, it is going to be a permanent fixture in the game. I know there are quite a few people that like the game, but there's also a pretty strong contingency of people that do not like the game. So we'll see what they do with it in the future. I am happy to report that once I do finally, I haven't actually started it yet, but if you have been doing the Mickey Run adventure since it came out, and you've been getting the Adventure Mickey medals, you should by the end of this event, assuming that you've collected all the medals up till now, you should finally have enough to get one limit break on your Adventurer Mickey. And I am personally looking forward to that because I pulled Adventurer Mickey way back when his banner came out. I went to pity on him and got nothing but the pity copy, and I have not pulled another copy ever since. Even when he hit the general pool, I still have yet to pull a copy. So my Adventure Mickey's still at LB0. I will be very happy to finally get him to LB1. Nothing else really changes in the shop. Everything else is pretty much the same. Nothing with the event has really changed. Everything's pretty much the same. So not going to do like any practice runs. You can just look at my previous history, my backlog. I've done some other runs and guides and things for this event. Some other things that they've changed is they have changed the home screen menu. Not like a noticeable visual change or anything, but they have actually changed the rewards that you get from tapping on things like the treasure chests and the people with the little exclamation marks, and from people on your screen that have the little gifts above their heads. Now, I already tapped on the people that had the gifts on top of their heads, and I got some stamina potions, the small ones, out of it, which is a very nice addition, because normally I just wouldn't bother tapping on those people because half the time it would crash the app for me, and the other half of the time it was just useless garbage that I didn't need anyway, so I just didn't want to waste the time. But I always tap on the treasure chests and the units that have the exclamation points just because sometimes they give out picks and other things. And so now they've actually increased those rewards. And so just to show you as an example, let's click on the treasure chest and see what it gives. All right, so it gives you out some blue fragments. I think you can get any types of fragments from those. Let's check on Cinderella here and see what she's going to give me. And oh yeah, so you can get customization seeds, which is really cool. So yeah, they've definitely changed up what you can get from the units, and they've improved those rewards. So definitely, if you're the type of person that just didn't click on because you didn't care about like crafting, you didn't care about the clothing crafting materials, or like you didn't care about the 3 picks you got or something like that, now's a good time to actually start checking on those because they have improved those rewards. All right, now before I get to the rescue signal, let's talk about the units that come with it. It is a Wreck-It Ralph rescue signal. Now, I'm just going to come right out, full transparency, full disclosure. I never watched Wreck-It Ralph, so I have like no personal connection to these units. If you're like a huge fan of Wreck-It Ralph, then you're probably really excited about this banner and this event. But me, I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't even know who these people are. I only know Ralph is Ralph because of the what I saw on the commercials back in the day. I have no idea anything about the movie, so hopefully that's hopefully that's not important here. But yeah, the units, we'll talk about those. I'm going to talk about the free unit first, and the free unit is Felix. So I'm going to go to my index because I haven't actually picked him up yet. Let's see, where he is. There he is. Okay, so let's take a look at Felix. I'm going to go ahead and get him up to 5 stars. Let's go ahead and just do LB Max, because you're going to get him to LB Max by the end of the event anyways, because you want the bonus. And so Felix is just kind of meh. He does AoE heavy damage, which is pretty bad. You would definitely prefer him to be dealing massive damage for an AoE striker. He does do a level 2 attack break, which, is fine. When it matters, attack breaks can be useful. But really, this is just kind of meh. And then his EX skill is fine. It's a level 2 HP regen. When as long as he is 90% HP or higher, you're going to get that HP regen. And assuming that he's always above 90%, you're going to max out your HP regen at level 5 because it does last for 3 turns. So that's kind of nice. But there's nothing really special about Felix. He's kind of boring. He's not all that great. We've definitely had better free units, but at the same time, we've also had worse. So yeah, he's just kind of like middle of the pack, I would say. So definitely, you still obviously want to try and get him to LB Max through the event shop, just purely for the bonus, if nothing else. But you probably won't use him too much outside of this event. Now, as for the banner units, the ones you actually have to spend crystals on, both of these units are fairly solid. I would say the winner between these two, so you've got Ralph and you've got Vanellope. The winner between these two is definitely Vanellope. We've just been, calling her Van in the Discord just for ease. So you may just hear me call her Van. But yeah, she is a super solid unit. She is I'm just going to do her LB. Well, we'll start at LB 0. So even starting at LB 0, she's a really solid unit. So she brings attack up boost, which is very nice. So, attack up boost is that separate buff. It's separate from attack up. It's slightly more powerful than an attack up. It starts at 12%, goes up to 60%. You can add it to the attack up buff. So they're separate buffs to get the total 110% attack if you have another attack buffer. And she can actually activate her own EX skill, which is really nice. It's always nice when a unit can activate their own EX skill with their skill, kind of like Belle, if you remember. So when her attack up is at level 3 or more, and as long as her HP is 75% or higher, she does a level 2 evasion and level 2 damage reduction and a 10% heal. So Vanellope is kind of like a really solid mixed hybrid support unit. You can kind of think of her like Jewel Guardian Genie, but better. Like she kind of goes that step ahead. And if you get her to LB1, she starts adding attack boost. So she is the first unit to have both attack up and attack up boost on a single skill. So she is a very solid, just sort of all-rounder support unit, delivering both solid attack buffs and defensive buffs and a little bit of a heal to go along with it. If you get her to LB2, the buffs go up to level 3 and level 2 respectively. However, something to keep in mind, you notice that the attack up boost lasts for 3 turns, but the attack up only lasts for 2 turns. So she can only ever max out at 100% attack buff, so she can never reach max attack up. So she can't reach level 5 attack buff ever. Even if you're using her skill every turn, she'll never hit level 5 attack buff. She'll hit level 5 attack up boost, obviously. But what that means is that she can only max out at a 100% attack buff instead of the 110% if you had max stacks on both buffs. So You still may want to consider bringing another attack buff. She does pair very well with Enchanted Princess Belle, because Belle obviously can sort of fill in that gap with your attack buff while also bringing your crit buffs. So she does work very, very well with Enchanted Princess Belle, because she also, again, she brings the defensive buffs along with her as well. So, you know, if you're used to bringing like Belle and Genie together, or Belle and like Dancer Goofy, or like Belle and what's the other one? The Singer Belle, right? You may actually be able to swap those out and put Vanellope in their place and sort of have a more well-rounded support system. Now, if you're a newer player that doesn't really have a whole lot of units, I highly recommend pulling for this unit. Like, she should be a must pull for a new player. So if you've just been, you know, you just started within the last month or so and you don't really have a good group of units, in my opinion, Vanellope is a must pull for a newer player. For a veteran player like myself, she's not a must pull, simply because I already have a lot of other units that work very well together and kind of synergize together, that I don't really need Vanellope. So she doesn't really work to effectively replace what I already currently have, just because I have a good assortment of units that already work really well together. However, something where Vanellope could be really useful is in cases where you want to do like a small party mission. Like some of the very hard stages, I think have missions where it's like complete with only 3 units. If you have Vanellope, like, she covers so many bases. She's got so much roll compression that she would easily slot in on a small party team, because she's covering your attack buffs and your defense buffs and giving you that little bit of a heal. So you may even be able to get away without, you know, bringing a strong healer. So all around, she's a super, super solid unit. Like I said, newer players, you should be pulling for this unit. If you're a new player, she's a must pull. If you're a veteran player and you don't really, you know, if you're like, for me, example, so I'm getting my attack buffs and my attack boost buffs from Enchanted Princess Belle and from Dancer Goofy, respectively, right? And so those two together already are just, you know, a full-on offensive juggernaut. If I need defensive buffs, I might bring like Genie along, or I'll probably bring Cruella, because Cruella brings defense and damage reduction, right? So I've already kind of have my bases covered, so I don't need Vanellope. But newer players may seriously need a unit like this to really help them excel and get through content. So in my opinion, she is top tier support unit. Newer players should pull for this unit hands down. Veteran players should just look and see if they can find a good combination, or if they don't already have their bases covered. All right. As for Ralph, he's definitely not a must pull, and he's kind of boring in my opinion. He's a very, very basic damage dealer. So you see, he starts off just dealing massive damage to one enemy. His EX skill requires him to use his skill 2 times before it will activate, but it does deal immense damage, which is nice. And he also has the higher attack stat that we've been seeing in some of our top tier DPS units like Moana and Simba. Okay. But that's kind of it. And the fact that you have to use his skill 2 times to get his EX skill means he can only at best activate his EX skill every other turn. And that's pretty limiting. That actually drags down his damage a considerable amount. Now, with that said, if you get him to LB 2 or 3, all right, getting him to LB 2 increases his damage to immense. It also adds a defense break on there, which is just kind of like meh, you know. It's nice when it works, but breakers are rarely, rarely needed in a lot of content. And so you get him to LB2, and now he's doing a double immense, kind of like Moana. If you remember, Moana did double immense damage. She had immense damage on her skill and on her EX skill. The difference being that Moana can easily activate her EX skill almost every turn. Assuming that you're able to maintain that level 5 attack buff and keep her healthy, she can just knock off that immense damage every turn. But Ralph, he is permanently restricted to at best every other turn because of that requirement. So that does drag him down. Now, with that being said, he still comes in in the top 3 DPS as long as he is LB. I think it's LB3. I think even at LB2, he's still behind. I think he's still behind like Donald and Adventurous Girl Rapunzel. I think he's like ranked number 5 at LB2. But once he hits LB3 or higher, he jumps up into rank 3 as a number 3 ranked DPS unit. So it does require him to have some higher LB levels to kind of get to reach his maximum damage potential, obviously. But that's I think the biggest problem I have with him is that he's just so basic. Now, you see his skill is it's dirt cheap. It's only 10 SP, so it's really not a problem to use his skill almost every turn. So you're probably going to be seeing his EX skill activate quite often, just because you should have 10 SP lying around pretty much every turn to use his attack skill. And if you get him to LB3, that drops it down to 8 SP, so it's like dirt cheap. But it's very, very basic. There's no striker abilities on any of these things. Like, he doesn't have any color strikers or anything. And he's just incredibly basic. And based on what we've seen from some previous damage dealers that we've been seeing lately, he just doesn't quite reach maximum potential. So he did not make it into top tier on my tier list. I have updated the tier list in the compendium, by the way. I'll link that in the description below. He did not make top tier with units like Doofy, Moana, Simba, because he just doesn't really bring anything else to the table other than just damage. And that's just, like I said, if you're a newer player and you're struggling for DPS units, he's solid. I mean, if you want someone that's just going to hit things really hard, he's going to do that for you. I mean, that's it. It's kind of fitting thematically because he just hits things, right? He just wrecks things, and that's all he knows how to do. So I guess thematically it works, but otherwise I don't really see a place for him in my party. I am doing daily pulls on both these units just to increase my chances of getting them for the bonus. I purely want them just to have some bonus, because otherwise it's going to be a slog trying to farm this event. But if you're looking for one of these 2 units to pull, definitely Vanellope. All right, so let's get to the Rescue Signal event itself and talk a little bit about this. Everything's open on day 1. You do have to clear out the normal map, and you have to clear out the normal. I think you clear out the normal map first to get access to the hard map, I think is what you have to do, or you have to beat maybe you have to beat the normal walls. I can't remember. But anyways, as long as, generally you beat the normal map, then you beat the normal boss up to level 10, then you move on to the hard map, hard boss up to level 10, and then you just farm whichever one you need, right? So you pick up Felix for 400 blue coins in the normal shop. So that should be the first thing that you do. You can usually hit that 400 points before you even reach the boss, I believe. And then I always buy the cheap set of medals from the blue shop after I've gotten to boss level 10. So usually by the time you reach boss level 10, you should have enough to get that cheap set of medals from Racer Felix. And then I move over to hard, and I do the hard map and the hard boss, at which point by the time I'm at the end of the hard boss, usually actually by like level 6 or 7, then I can buy the cheap set of medals from the hard stage. And now what I'm doing is I'm just going back to the normal stage, and I'm just farming normal 10 until I've gotten all the medals for Felix. So I'm going to get all the medals for Felix out of this shop, out of the normal shop first. So that'll get him up to LB3 or LB4, I think. And then I'll come back to the hard stage and do all of those. Now, as for the normal boss is super easy. You should be able to do that one on auto. I'll just go in and show you. Yeah, so I'm just going to auto. So this is my auto team right here. We'll just go in here and and rip it, grip it and rip it, as they say. Okay, so yeah, normal's fairly straightforward. You know, most people should be able to farm the normal level 10 boss without any struggles. You get 500 coins for it, and you know, obviously multiply that by whatever bonus you are getting. And then the hard boss, so depending on the strength of your team, you may be able to auto farm certain levels. I think I was able to auto farm up to level 9 with this crew. So I think I'm going to try it. I'm pretty sure I can auto level 9 with these guys. We're going to give it a go and just see. Actually, I think what I had Rapunzel on auto. That way she did a little bit of an auto heal. So yeah, so let's hop in here. I'm pretty sure I can auto level 9. So there's a mob at the beginning. Should be able to clear these guys out easy peasy. Okay. So yeah, so since you know, I've got some pretty strong units. Obviously, I've got Simba and Moana, and they hit like a truck, especially when, you know, because you've got Simba bringing the crit buffs, Moana bringing the crit power. So, yeah, these guys hit pretty hard, especially if they're hitting a lot of crits. And obviously, my Moana being level 110 really helps. But yeah, so at level 9, you know, you're getting 600 of the orange coins, which is pretty decent. However, I would recommend, if you can, I would recommend manually farming 10. I cannot auto farm level 10, but I would recommend manually farming it if you can, just because you get 1,000 coins. And so, you know, if you can do it, I highly recommend it. Now, obviously, I need to go down to... I need to go down to, I can't auto this one, right? So what I do here is I do switch up my team a little bit to do level 10. What am I looking for? I'm looking for, here she is. All right. So with this party, I've got, you know, Magic Mini for heals. I've got, as well as defense buffs. I've got Genie for damage reduction, and then we're just relying on Doofy and Moana to basically just knock it out, right? We'll do a little bit of recharge here. All right, and let's see how we go. Oh, I need to turn off auto. Yeah, that's not what I wanted to do. All right, so oh man, all right. I'm gonna back out just because I wanted to set up. I need that first wave to set up properly before I go into the boss. So yeah, make sure you turn off your auto before you do it. All right. So we're gonna defend with everybody except we're gonna skill with these guys. Make sure you target this dude first so you don't get your party attack broken, because that guy will do an attack break on your party if you let him survive for one turn. So we want to make sure we knock him out. Everyone else is, you know, whatever. We don't really care. All right. And then, yeah, what I'll do here is I'll actually do... Yeah, I'm just gonna do it again. I'm just gonna buff everybody again. Okay, and now I'm gonna skill with these guys. Defend, defend, skill, skill. I think I can skill with him too. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have skilled with Felix because he can't be attack broken. So that was actually kind of dumb. But all right, I'm just gonna defend with him. I am going to skill. I can't skill with them, can I? Of course not. Let's do mini then. Okay. And yeah, because I want to make sure that Moana is healed up. Now, obviously, if you don't care about the bonus, and you're not going to farm this stage, then drop Felix and put somebody better in there, either like another support unit. You could put an SP generator like Marie in there. That way you can skill everybody pretty much every turn. You know, that would be ideal. Let's see, I'm going to skill these two guys. Let's defend there. There we go. Now we get some SP. That's good. All right. Let's just go ahead and unload everybody. And that should be the end of it. There you go. So yeah, the boss isn't too hard, I don't believe, as long as you maintain your defense buffs and keep everyone healed up. Like Magic Mini is fantastic on this one. Pairing Magic Mini with Genie is really going to be helpful. And then, just bringing a couple of solid damage dealers, or even just like, bringing Dancer Goofy and putting Belle in Moana's place would be really good. And like I said, you can drop Felix if you're struggling to beat the boss. Drop Felix and put another support unit in there. So yeah, a lot of options there, I think. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for this event. I will say, make sure that you're checking your missions. You do get a lot of good rewards again for rescue signals, so make sure you try and reach 300,000 rescue signal points by the end of the 2 weeks. Yeah, you get 5 of these limit break stones. You get a lot of orbs. You get pixel bond. You get lots of picks, which is nice. They also give you lots of limit break stone fragments, so you can craft more limit break stones. These are becoming a lot more common, which is really good to see. Obviously, they've got the limited time and daily missions for like Pocket Adventure and things like that, so make sure you do all of those as well. All right, I think that's pretty much it. So yeah, hopefully this video was helpful for you guys. Good luck in your farming. Good luck with your pulls if you're pulling for either one of these units. Thank you so much for following me, and I will see you on the other side.